One of the 15 best vegetables to plant this August is not in the seed rack. It is in your trash. You walk out to the fall bed in October. The lettuce row is bare dirt. The bok choy shot up to flower before it thickened. The broccoli grew a stalk and never headed. You followed the list, so you blame the soil, the weather, maybe yourself. Maybe you just do not have a green thumb. That is not what happened. Every August list hands you the crops. What those lists leave out is the specific mistake that ends each one before harvest. 15 vegetables to plant right now. 15 mistakes to skip. And that crop, the one sitting in your grocery bag right now, regrows on your kitchen windowsill in a shot glass of water. That one alone is worth the whole video. Number 1. Arugula. 30-day fall green killed by one August soil temp mistake. Arugula gets ignored on every fall list because it is too easy. That is a mistake. At about $3 a 5-ounce bag at Walmart. This is the one you plant first. 30 days from seed to plate. 2 square feet gives you repeated baby leaf cuttings for a household. Here is what the seed packet leaves out. Sow the first week of August with soil still at 80, and one of two things happens. Seeds sit and never come up, or they bolt in 14 days. Neither is your fault. Wait for soil below 75. Mid to late August, zone 6 through 8. A basic soil thermometer starts around $6 at Walmart, cheaper than 2 bags. Astro is fast and mild. Sylvetta is wild and slower to bolt. Same rule for a 6-inch window box or 5-gallon pot. Zone 9 and 10. Wait until September. 30 days, 2 square feet. $3 a bag times however many bags you buy. Number 2. Radish Cherry Bell. 21 days to harvest. Ruined if you skip the Ruthless thinning. After arugula, radish is the next fast one. 21 days from seed to red globe, which is why every beginner tries them, and half end up with a bed of tops and nothing underground. The piece most guides leave out is the thinning. You sow a whole packet, get excited when the greens come up, and 3 weeks later pull one to find nothing there. Leaves and a stringy white root. Radishes want 1 inch between plants once they germinate. Not half, not 2, 1. 7 to 10 days in, take the scissors and snip the extras at soil level. Do not pull. That disturbs the neighbors. Cherry Bell is the classic red globe, 22 days. French breakfast for the long pink type. D'Avignon for something different on the plate. Same rule in a 6-inch window box or 5-gallon pot. Matters even more there because water and food are limited. Thin ruthlessly. That is the whole trick. I used to call radishes beginner-proof. I do not anymore. Number 3. Kale Winterbor. Bitter in September, candy sweet in November, if you leave the crown alone. There is a reason kale sits on every fall list. But nobody tells you the mistake that ends the harvest before the cold, sweet payoff shows up. Kale is the MVP of the fall garden. Hardy to 15 degrees. In zones 4 through 7 with protection. Winterbor can hold through winter, though snow and wind decide how long you keep harvesting. Nothing else on this list does that. Here is the mistake that kills it. You plant kale in August, watch it grow, and around Halloween you pull the whole plant. That is the last kale from that plot. The plant dies before doing the one thing that makes fall kale worth growing. When the temperature drops, kale does something a lot of us wish we could. It pulls stored starches out of the roots into the leaves and turns them into sugar. The plant thinks it needs to survive the freeze. What that means for your garden is November kale tastes nothing like the bitter grocery bag. But only if the plant is still standing. Cut outer leaves first. Leave the crown alone. The plant grows new leaves for months while cold builds sugar in the ones already there. Cultivar. Winterbor is the Dutch F1 hybrid, cold hardiest, 60 to 70 days. Lacinato, the Tuscan flatleaf, is milder for warmer zones. Red Russian is the most cold-tolerant tender type, 50 days, 18 inches apart in a raised bed, full sun, 6 to 8 hours, an inch to an inch and a half of water a week. There is a trick that gets passed around gardening forums in New England. Old-timers there have grown Winterbor for years, and they say the same thing. The plant that tastes bitter in September becomes something else in November. Ran that on my own beds last fall. First bite in early October. Sharp. Mid-November, after 2 nights below 30. Sweet, like a cabbage should have been all along. Kale also transitions cleanly to a 5-gallon fabric grow bag. One plant can still carry into November. Roots stay cooler. Zone 3 needs a cold frame or heavy mulch. Zone 9 and 10. Kale stays bitter unless you get 30 nights below 45. Same plant, different month, different vegetable. Number 4. Mustard greens, 30-day rescue for late starters. Killed by waiting past 4-inch leaves. If Labor Day is here and you missed the August window, do not skip fall. Plant these instead. Mustard greens are the 30-day rescue crop. If I could pick one for a late starter, this is it. Miss the window and mustard still lands a full harvest before frost. Here is the mistake everyone makes. You wait too long. Leaves hit 8 or 10 inches, you cut them, and they taste like horseradish. Hot, bitter, peppery. Nobody will touch them. Cut at 4 to 5 inches. Mild, tender, salad ready. Green Wave is the mild, curly workhorse. Southern Giant looks like the grocery bunch. Broadleaf, mild. Same 4-inch rule in a pot. Bitter is bitter regardless of setup. 4 inches, not 8. That is the difference between a salad green and a peppery mistake. Stay with me, because the next one solves the biggest cilantro frustration you have ever had. Number 5. Cilantro Santo. Fall ends the bolt problem. Only if you never move the taproot. Every spring, the same thing happens with cilantro. You plant it, you get 3 weeks of flavor, it bolts, and you are back to buying it wilted at the store. Fall fixes that. But only if you skip one step. That step is the taproot. You go to the nursery, see the 6-pack of cilantro seedlings, and think you are getting a head start. 2 weeks later, they bolt anyway. Cilantro has a single long taproot that does not survive being pulled out of a plastic cell. Direct sow only. Straight into the raised bed or into the pot where the plant will live. Santo is the slow bolt classic. Calypso runs 3 weeks slower than Santo. That is as good as it gets right now. In a pot, this matters even more. Same taproot rule, but needs 6 inches of depth. After comparing every cilantro I have grown, the seedling 6-pack loses every time. Direct sow only. That is the rule. Number 6. Bok choy, joy choy. Forgiving fall brassica killed by direct sowing in 80-degree soil. Bok choy is the forgiving brassica. Broccoli fights you. Cauliflower quits. Bok choy just needs one thing you have to get right. The piece most guides skip is timing. You direct sow the first week of August, when soil is still 80. Seeds germinate. 2 weeks later, before they thicken into a base, they shoot straight to flower. Heat stress does that. Bok choy in August heat is a plant convinced it has run out of time. It sends up a flower stalk before it has any base to work with. Bok choy in September, when the soil is cooling and the nights are pulling down, thickens at the base and gives you those white crunchy stalks that make a stir-fry work. Wait for soil below 70. End of August or early September in zone 6 through 8. This is the one that changed how I think about fall brassicas. K-State Extension puts it plainly. Fall bok choy is much less likely to bolt than the spring crop, with a milder, cleaner flavor. Spring bok choy fights you. Fall bok choy walks in and behaves. Choy is the F1 workhorse, uniform white stalks. Asian Delight is bolt-resistant. Pak Choy and Maitrin Choy both work if you want smaller Asian types. Sow a 1/4 inch deep, 6 inches apart for baby heads, 12 for full ones. Full sun in cool zones, partial shade in warmer ones. Consistent water. Dry stress makes it bolt. Bok choy is one of the best container crops on this list. A 5-gallon pot gives you 1 or 2 full heads. Same soil temp rule. That row finally gives you heads, not flower stalks. Zone 8 and 9. Wait about 2 weeks longer. Zone 10 and 11. October may be your window. Wait for soil below 70. Then plant. That is the whole game. And the crop from your trash bag is next. No seed packet, no dirt. Number 7. Scallions. The crop in your trash bag that regrows in a shot glass and saves $70 a year. This is the one on the list that costs nothing. Not $1 of setup, not a seed packet. Just the thing you are already throwing in the trash. 2 ways to grow scallions this fall. Both work. Path 1. Shot glass regrow from a scallion end you would have tossed. Cut the white part with at least 1 inch of root still attached. Drop it in a shot glass with 1 inch of water. Sunny windowsill. By day 7, you have 2-inch green shoots. Change the water every 3 days. Cut the green top. Leave the white base with roots to regrow. Path 2. Sow scallion seeds a 1/4 inch deep, 1/2 inch apart in a raised bed row. 21 days to first cutting. Cut. Come again all fall. For cultivar, evergreen hardy white is the perennial workhorse. Deep purple if you want color. One mistake kills the shot glass method. Chopping the end too close to the bulb. No root section, no regrow. Leave at least 1 inch of white with the roots visible. The first regrowth is the easy one. After a few cuttings, the bulb runs out of stored energy. Plant it in soil if you want thicker leaves and a longer run. The first time I tried this, I cut a green onion from Kroger on a Tuesday morning. Cost me a couple bucks, that bunch. I stuck the white end in a shot glass of water on my kitchen windowsill. By the next Saturday morning, I was standing at that same window with my coffee, watching 2 inches of green push up from something I had thrown in the trash for the last 20 years. And that was when I did the math on all the bunches I had bought. $70 a year, at least. $70 for something that would have regrown from what I was throwing away. If a shot glass of tap water and a scallion end you were going to throw away just saved you $70 a year, subscribe and hit the bell. There is a new one every week, and they all cost you nothing to watch. $2 a bunch. Shot glass of water. 7 days. That is where the whole grocery scam falls apart. Number 8. Spinach Bloomsdale. Cold hardy heirloom whose seeds go dormant above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Spinach has a temperature problem in August. Every year I hear from someone who sowed a whole packet in the first week and got nothing. You will not find this on the back of the packet. Spinach seeds germinate best in cool soil. Once the soil climbs above 80, many seeds sit dormant until temperatures drop. Not just slow to germinate, actually dormant. If you sow in 90-degree August dirt, those seeds are sitting there waiting for the ground to cool. You sowed at the wrong end of the month. Wait for soil below 70, mid to late August in Zone 6 and 7. Bloomsdale Long Standing is the crinkly, cold-hardy heirloom classic. Space is the smooth-leaf hybrid with better disease resistance. Cover the bed with a cold frame or heavy mulch, and either one carries fresh greens well into winter. Same shallow root works in a window box, 5-gallon pot, or salad table without adjustment. Same soil thermometer trick. Solves the whole problem. Number 9. Bush bean. The August bean nobody plants. Only safe if you beat first frost by 7 weeks. A bean in a fall list looks like a mistake. Beans are summer. Beans need heat. Everyone knows that. Except one type of bean does not follow the rules if you plant it before August 10th. Bush beans hit maturity in 55 days. The short kind, not the pole beans. Grows knee-high, finishes in a burst. If your zone gives you 7 weeks before first frost, the bean does the rest. Here is the mistake. You look at the packet, see 55 days, and figure any August date is safe. Sow after August 10th in Zone 5 or 6, and the harvest lands in early October. A wasted packet and an empty bed. Count back 7 weeks from your first frost date. Zone 6, cutoff is August 5th. Zone 7 and 8, you have until August 10th. Zone 4 and 5, skip. Zone 9, mid-August or a second sowing in September. Bush beans do not need long days like tomatoes. Just soil warmth, 6 or 7 hours of sun, and 7 weeks. I almost skipped this one, and I am glad I did not. Everyone plants beans in May. Nobody in August. That is why everyone has zucchini fatigue in September while you are picking fresh beans. Cultivar. Provider is the disease-resistant 55-day workhorse. Contender is the southern heat-tolerant pick. Blue Lake Bush is the classic bean flavor. Derby is another disease-resistant option at 57. 3 to 4 inches apart, rows 18 to 24. For a container, swap those for Mascot or Porch Pick. Both top out around 16 inches. Bred for a 5-gallon pot. Same 55 days, same zone rule. 4 plants gives you a porch worth of beans. Fresh green beans were about $1.78 a pound when I checked at Walmart. A 10-plant row saves you a solid chunk. Zone 6 or warmer. First 10 days of August, not a day later. Wait until you see what the beet a few entries down does when you cut it open. Number 10, leaf lettuce. Cut and come again crop killed before germination by burying seeds too deep. The lettuce mistake happens before the seed even hits the water. Most people bury it too deep. Lettuce seeds need light to germinate, not warmth, not depth, light. Any deeper than 1/8 of an inch, and they sit in the dark until you give up. You water in the seeds, cover with a 1/4 inch of soil like you would corn or beans, and wonder 2 weeks later why nothing came up. The seeds never got the signal to wake. Press the seed onto the surface and mist gently. Sprinkle on top of prepared soil. Press lightly with your palm. Mist gently so you do not wash them away. Butter Crunch for butter type. Black-seeded Simpson for fast leaf. Deer Tongue for heat tolerance. Same shallow sowing rule for a 5-gallon pot, salad table, or window box. Light is the trigger, 1/8 inch. Sprinkle, do not bury. Number 11, turnips, purple top, white globe. September's fastest last chance bulb, with edible greens as bonus. Nobody gets excited about turnips until they run out of time. Then, turnips look like heroes. If it is already September and your fall bed is empty, plant turnips first. 30 to 55 days from seed to bulb. Here is the trap. Sow the seed thick, do not thin, and you end up with all foliage and no bulb. Same trap as radish and beet. Thin to 3 or 4 inches apart after the greens come up. Purple top white globe is the classic purple-shouldered old-timer. Hakure is the mild Japanese salad type you can eat raw off the counter. Bonus. Turnip greens are edible. That is 2 crops out of 1 seed packet, 1 from the top and 1 from the bottom. For a September start, nothing else on this list comes close. Fastest bulb crop for a late starter. Nobody talks about it because nobody thinks turnip. Number 12. Chioggia beet. Italian candy stripe rings hidden by seed clusters if you don't thin to 4 inches. Cut a Chioggia beet open, and it will stop you. Concentric pink and white rings, like a piece of candy someone hid underground. That is the beet I promised you a few entries back, the candy stripe. Slice a full-size Chioggia, and you see alternating pink and white rings. Crowd 4 seedlings into one spot, and every root stays small. Give one plant 4 inches, and those rings have room to widen. Thin the cluster with scissors after the first true leaves appear. The kill mistake is not the cultivar, it is the seed. What looks like one beet seed is a cluster of 2 to 4 fused together. Sow the cluster, 4 come up, they fight for room, and every one stays small and clumped. 7 to 14 days after emergence, snip the extras. Wait 7 to 14 days after they come up. Snip the extras at soil level with scissors, one seedling every 3 to 4 inches. Do not pull. Pulling disturbs the neighbors. Chioggia is the Italian heirloom with the candy stripes. Add Burpee's Golden for gold rings, Detroit Dark Red for classic solid red, Ruby Queen for a fast standard. Zone 4 through 9, 55 to 70 days. Sow ½ an inch deep, cluster spacing 4 inches. Full sun, consistent water. A woman wrote to me last month. Retired teacher up in the Northeast, said her only garden is a balcony with a couple of 10-gallon grow bags. She planted Chioggia for the first time last fall on a lark. Pulled the first one in November and cut it in half at her counter. It stopped her. Pink and white spirals inside a beet. She kept the harvested ones in a bowl for a week before cooking, just to look at them. This August, she is starting 2 full bags, not one, just for those spirals. A 10-gallon fabric bag, 10 inches deep. Use fabric or plastic, but make sure the container drains freely and stays cool. Those rings tell you the beet had room to grow. Cook it whole and slice just before serving. Long cooking fades the rings. 4 inches between plants, not 2, not 1, 4. That is the whole trick to a bed full of candy stripes in November. Number 13. Swiss Chard Bright Lights. 3-month harvest machine if you cut outer stalks and leave the crown. Swiss Chard gets planted and pulled at harvest like it is one and done. It is not. It is a 3-month machine if you cut it right. If you have been growing chard for one harvest, you have been growing it wrong. The kill mistake is a habit from other crops. You yank the whole plant when leaves look ready. Chard does not work that way. Cut outer stalks 1 inch above the crown. New stalks push up for 3 months. Bright Lights has rainbow stems. Ford Hook Giant is heavy and green. Rhubarb Chard is deep red like stained glass. 6 inches apart in the row. In a 5-gallon pot, 2 or 3 plants work. Same outer stalk rule. Grew chard both ways. Never went back to pulling whole plants. Cut outer stalks, leave the crown. 3 months of greens from one plant. 2 more entries. The last one is the broccoli mistake almost everyone makes. Number 14. Not half-long carrots. Frost-sweet November roots ruined by rocks and crowding. The carrot mistake happens underground, where you cannot see it. By the time you pull the first one in October, it is too late to fix. 2 mistakes kill most home carrot patches. Rocky or compacted soil. Carrots have to punch straight down. Hit a rock, the taproot forks. Hit clay, it stunts. You pull twisted roots instead of straight carrots. Second, no thin. Carrot seeds come up thick. Leave them and they crowd into small, clumped roots. Loosen 12 inches of soil before sowing. Work the soil 12 inches deep. Pick out rocks. Thin to 2 inches apart after germination. Danvers half-long is the classic. Nantes is the sweet one. Napoli is fast. Frost hits. Sugar pushes into the root. Leave them into November for candy-sweet carrots. If you use a container, match cultivar to pot depth. Nantes half-long, Paris market, and Littlefinger fit an 8 to 12-inch pot. Imperator needs 18 inches, or you get the same forked roots. Of every fall root crop, this is the one I would not skip. Rocks are the enemy. Crowding is the second enemy. Fix both. Number 15. Broccoli Bell Star. Fall broccoli beats spring if you transplant instead of direct sow. The last one is the broccoli mistake almost everyone makes. UMD Extension puts it plainly. Fall broccoli produces higher yields than spring plantings in the mid-Atlantic. That is the reward if you do it right. Here is what stops most people. Direct sowing broccoli seeds straight into an August bed. If you sow straight into that heat, you are asking a cool season seedling to start life in an oven. Warm August soil cuts germination and leaves your seedlings weak. One hot seed bed looks like a small mistake. Across 12 plants, it erases the whole fall crop. Start seedlings in late July, then transplant early September. Start seeds indoors under a grow light or shaded bench in late July. Transplant early September once soil drops below 75. Bellstar at 65 days, cold hardy and heat tolerant. Packman at 55 days if you need faster. Diplomat, Green Comet, and Premium Crop are the standards. 18 to 24 inches apart, rows 24 to 30. Broccoli in a pot is a compromise. Full heads need raised bed or in-ground spacing. A 15-gallon fabric bag works with smaller heads. Direct sowed my first fall broccoli patch into an August bed 12 years ago. Got 12 leggy seedlings that never headed. Learned my lesson. Transplant, not direct sow. That is the difference between fall broccoli heads and a bed full of stunted seedlings. 15 crops. Every single one with one specific mistake that ends the harvest before it starts. The scallions want a shot glass, not a seed packet. The kale wants outer leaves, not whole plant harvest. The broccoli wants a transplant, not a seed in August dirt. That is what a fall garden actually looks like when you leave out the marketing and put in the mistake you were about to make. The point was never to plant more. It was to stop losing the crop you already planted to one avoidable mistake. Tonight, before you make dinner, save one green onion end. Cut the white part with an inch of root still attached. Drop it in a shot glass of tap water on your kitchen windowsill. 7 days from now, check what happened. That is the whole test. A smaller garden with the right timing beats a bigger garden planted blind. The grocery store wants you to think growing food takes a raised bed the size of a garage, a truckload of soil, and a summer of work. A packet of seed and one mistake avoided will take you a long way.